Hey, what's up out there, my friends? This is your homie, your buddy, your pal, Reverend Fajun, coming at you on a Saturday afternoon, I think it is. Anyway, this is my fourth attempt, maybe fifth attempt to do this video. Um, and here's what it's about. It's about medicinal empathy. And it's because I woke up this morning feeling confused and dismayed. That's been happening a lot lately. I don't know if that's been happening for you. But this weekend I'm in a meditation retreat online, and in my practice this morning, I felt this strong urge, like I think a lot of us, for me, the choice a lot of these mornings is it going to be despair or action? Am I going to find what I have to contribute? And sometimes it's hard to know what exactly do I have to contribute, but the call that I felt today was to just put out there a little bit of empathy, a little heart quality into the world, and just share a little bit of this heart with you. So just not too long, just a couple minutes, but medicinal empathy, here it goes. What does that mean? Well, empathy, it might sound like sympathy or pity, like, oh, you poor baby. No, that's BS. Don't even think that. No, I mean, I have empathy if you think that, but knock it off. What I'm talking about is relating through the undeniable, inexplicable, inextricable connection that binds us all together. And that's not easy. What's actually quite easy, because it's somewhat hardwired into us instinctually, and then I'm sure it's reinforced by culture, is to relate through our differences and our divisions. And the worst part of that is we relate through our differences and divisions until we can't relate at all. We think our differences have divided us completely, and that's called dehumanization, where we think that person is totally other than me. We don't share anything. On the other hand, I think the great spiritual practitioners of all time, as well as some of our greatest social change leaders and catalysts, have always honed in and focused primarily on that which unites us all. And I don't know, when I think about that, it bolsters me. And so I wanted to share a little bit of hope that bolsters you, that even when the symptoms of our deeply ingrained othering practice and dehumanizing practice just pop up to the surface again in terrible racist behavior and murder, it makes it that much easier to relate from how we're divided. And I don't mean today, I don't think it's the moment to say like, oh, hey, love your enemy, go be softer. That's not actually what I mean by empathy anyway. But today I actually want us to be empathetic to our well-meaning friends. And this just comes out of what I'm seeing is I've got a lot of well-meaning friends on my social media. I'm still doing social distancing. And so as I see on the internet, my various well-meaning friends, they're all cute, like hippie types who want to make the world a better place. They all have a different story about what's going on and a different strategy about how that's going to happen. And then they all bicker and fight down to the point where they other each other and ostracize each other for holding these different opinions. And I feel you, man. And if that's how you enjoy doing it, then I mean, go for it. I think for me, an important choice is, one, to try to get myself resourced however I can. That means giving myself empathy for recognizing when I feel confused, when I feel dismayed, when I feel rage, when I feel grief, and letting that be okay. Not having to say like, well, who are you to feel confused? I'm a human being to feel confused. That's who I am. Not saying, oh, you feel grief. Are you not a man? Are you not going to take action? No, I'm enough of a man to feel grief. And if I can rehumanize my own self, it creates a bit of resource that I'm willing to reach out, open my heart, make mistakes, and welcome another person in whose language doesn't even seem savory at that moment. right? It's hard enough to provide empathy and a heart oasis for someone who seems to agree with you. But then what about someone who holds a different story about reality? This is something I want to call to you to do today, because we are extremely empathy deficient just as a world and as a society. And this is a fundamental human nutrient. Um, like all the best nutrients, it can be medicinal when applied. And so I wanted to invite and ask and request and honor your ability to become an administerer of, it's not an administrator, I'm sure, of medicinal empathy. And that means that you get to disregard people's stories and you get to disregard their strategies. Like that's actually not your job. We think it's our job to be like, hey, that story is not exactly true, and that strategy is bullshit. I believe in a different strategy. I think in a moment where we need such deep care, our job is really to care first, and that means looking first toward this deep connection, which is that we all share the same needs as human beings. We all need food, water, air. We need connection. We need meaning. We need to contribute. These are all things that we will not thrive without. And when those needs are met, we feel happy, we feel pleasant, we feel joyful. And when those needs are not met, we feel confused, enraged, frustrated, dismayed, anxious, terrified. And I don't know if you would agree, maybe put a little pop in the comments or something. There's plenty of terror and frustration and dismay to go around out there. And the answer for that, one of the answers for that, is being able to meet that with presence and an open heart. So presence and an open heart are not easy. You gotta fight for those, in my experience of it. And yet, if you can resource yourself, if you can find the empathy well, the oasis within you, then you actually have a resource that is in great demand in the world. I personally don't know which social change tactics are going to be the ones that bring about the best results. I feel quite confused about that. I do my best. What I do know is that as trite and hippie as it is to say, the foundation of it has to be love. If we can't figure out how to love each other, and today I'm not saying go try to love your enemies, like that's a hard moment, but try to love your friends. Love them stronger than ever before. And I think if we took that intention, today, I'm going to love my friends more strongly than before, then we're actually creating a well of resource, because resourced people can resource people, just like hurt people hurt people. And so I just want to invite you. I want to share with you. I just want to be together and perhaps make a little offering that that can help cut through the confusion of like, well, how do we treat each other? How do I face all the misinformation and the strategies and the hatred and the polarization? How do I? Well, you can at least face it with love, and you can lovingly cut through strategies you don't condone, and you can lovingly offer your other opinion to the stories you don't agree with. But I think the thing we need the most is good, solid care for each other. So if you're somebody who needs that care, I don't have that to give, well, then let this be a place where I and those watching who are ready to go, let you know like that care is available. We at least want to try, and probably are going to mess it up, but hey, whatever. And if, like me, you really want to be able to contribute something, in addition to the specific actions that you're taking, also make an outpouring of love and connection. Because I think without these things, like Our brains aren't going to work right. Our bodies aren't going to work right to be able to carry us forward into the vision of a world where we're not divided by the color of our skin. We're not keeping ourselves ignorant about implicit bias. We're not dividing ourselves based on class. We're not depriving each other of resources. That changing the world like that actually comes from having people with resourced enough hearts to be able to see a way forward. That's my strategy. You might disagree with it, but I still love you anyway. And so maybe let's start with just recognizing that everybody's hurting. You know, this is one way that we could play this together. It's just recognize that everybody's hurting and try to hold each other well, just for today, just for this week, and we'll see where we can go from there. So I just wanted to pop on here, share with you a little bit. Feel free to write an amen or a disagreement, a correction down in the comments, of course. But mostly I just wanted to take some time to connect with you. And so those connections nourish me. I hope they nourish you as well. I'll talk with you soon.